Hello, everyone. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe and click like. Today's video is a recap of Ascendance of a Bookworm anime Seasons 1. It's less than a month till Season 3 premieres. It's just 16 days, but who's counting? Now, let's start with the recap. Episode 1 titled, A World Without Books. The anime starts with Ferdinand offering Mine a drink and handing her a magical item. After drinking and receiving the magical item, Mine asked what is it for. They exchange a quick banter before Mine falls asleep. Ferdinand curious on how Mine's obsession with books is abnormal. He then puts a similar looking magical item as well, and the magic begins. Then we hear a voiceover from Mine, telling us her previous life as Urano Motosu, detailing how she loved books. Then we see books crushing down on her, and as she dies, she asked God to be born again in a life filled with books. She then awakens as a little girl named Mine. We see how Mine gets acquainted with her new home. She literally made a big mess in their home, looking for books. Gets to know her new family. Mine's trademark hair stick, her environment, and the fact that in these worlds she had awoken to. Books were too expensive for a commoner like her. This was when Effa took Mine with her to the market and had to leave Mine in a pawnshop-looking store after collapsing. Mine saw a book for the first time but was denied to hold it, because it is expensive, and only nobles has easy access to it. Mine, depressed but not broken, vows to create her own book. Episode 2. Life Improvement and Slates. Mine, pumped and ready to make her own book, contemplates on how to make a book, but first she needs paper. She tried searching her memories but could not, and complains about her itchy hair. We get to see her using her Urano memories to make an all-in-one shampoo, much to Tuli and their mother's delight. Mine then finds out how frail her body is, when she and Tuli had to take a parcel to their father Gunther, who forgot to take it with him. Mine easily runs out of breath with just a few flight of stairs, and quickly stumbles. We get to meet some of the neighborhood boys, Ralph, Faye and Lutz. Mine found out Ralph has a crush on Tuli, much to her delight. We see a red-faced Mine plus a crazed, nose-bleeding scene from Inner Mine when Lutz complimented her hair. Mine got to see paper and ink for the first time. We get introduced to Otto, one of Gunther's subordinate soldier, and Mine's first cultured acquaintance, who promised to give Mine his old slate, when Mine gets a no from Gunther when she cutely asks for paper and ink. You see, paper and ink is yet again very expensive. In this episode, Mine gets to venture beyond the city gates with her family for their winter preparation. Amazed at how the surrounding looks like in the fresh air, Mine could not help but get excited. But not for long, as she wished for paved roads. Later, Mine wakes up in a room at the gates. Otto explains she was taken there by Gunther, and will be picking her up later on their way home. You see Mine lost consciousness again. The first time was in episode 1 when she saw a chicken being butchered, then now when a pig was being slaughtered. Otto gave Mine his old slate and taught Mine how to write her name. In the end she overexerted herself and had a fever, but was very happy having a slate. Episode 3. Events of Winter. Winter is here. Mine with Effa and Tuli are snowed in because of a blizzard. Apparently it is common working from home. While sulking in front of their hearth, Effa asked Tuli to show Mine how to make baskets, to which Mine declines. Mine has a plan to craft pseudo-papyrus, her first step towards making her book. After 3 days and not advancing, Mine gives up. She gets told off by their mother Effa to stop playing and make baskets. Tuli gets measured for her baptismal dress. The episode talks about baptismal at age 7, and after being baptized the children get to start their apprenticeship. The mysterious paru tree and paru fruit were introduced. Mine made paru cakes, gets complimented for it and gets an ally for her bookmaking, from Lutz. Mine's family talks that Mine has been acting strange with all the things she comes up with, but Gunther voices out that he is happy how Mine has gotten active, compared to how she was weak, sickly and nearly dying in the past. Mine gets to stay at the gates one day, and Otto teaches her more letters, while he does his paperwork. While doing so, Mine points out a mistake on Otto's calculations. Concluding that Mine is good at maths and a quick learner, both came to an agreement to help Otto with paperwork in exchange for slate pencils and being taught the alphabet. One snowy day Tuli tries on her baptismal dress that Effa made, and Mine made Tuli a crocheted hair ornament to wear on her baptismal day. Episode 4. Forest and Clay Tablets. This episode starts with Tuli voicing out how amazed she is with the spread of food on the table. Mine had to cook for the family, using her cooking knowledge from when she was Urano. Surprised on how good it tastes, both Gunther and Effa discuss whether Mine could be an apprentice chef. Which Mine strongly declines, letting her family know her goal to go to the forest, in search of clay, to make clay tablets, and write on them. Tuli and Effa points out, Mine is not strong enough to go to the forest. To get their permission, Gunther says Mine needs to build up her strength first. One day, Gunther tells Mine, in front of the family, that Otto has asked for her to be his assistant. Mine will go to the gates under the guise of learning to read and write from Otto, along with the apprentice soldiers. Mine eventually was able to build up her strength, enough for her to have permission to go to the forest with Tuli, Lutz and the other kids. Left alone, while the others gather, Mine begins digging for clay, but is caught by Lutz, who scolded her for not resting, but he eventually helps Mine to find the right spot to dig and collect clay. On the clay tablets, Mine wrote the stories Effa tells her when she is sick. While drying the clay tablets, Faye and another kid stumps at the clay tablets. Mine gets angry, and as she shouts at Faye and the other kid, she begins to glow, her eye color also changes. Lutz and Tuli arrives and calms her down. Lutz orders the boys to help Mine dig and make clay tablets. For the second time the tablets gets ruined by the rain. Lutz and Mine exchange their future dreams while making clay tablets for the third time. The episode ends when the clay tablets exploded, when Mine puts them in the hearth, with Effa shouting Mine's name and Mine frustratedly shouts, "No." Episode 5. Baptisms and Strange Fevers. It is Tuli's baptism day. The neighborhood women crowd around Tuli, admiring how adorable she looks, and her hair unusual ornament. Gunther had to go to work to attend a meeting with an arch-noble. At the gate, while Otto and Gunther were away, a soldier arrives with an important letter. Mine reads the letter, gave instruction to the soldier and later delivers the message to Otto. That night the family gives Tuli her baptismal presents. Gunther gives Mine a knife to use, and tells her that she will now be the house helper instead. Tuli will be busy with her apprenticeship. Mine, with the knife, thinks of making wood tablets and thanks ancient China. The next day, she goes into the forest with Lutz and begins carving her planks, with Lutz eventually helping her. Lutz asks Mine if she could set up a meeting with Otto, who used to be a traveling merchant. At the gates Mine asks Otto about the traveling trade, saying it's for a friend. Mine took all her wooden planks home and bring them to their storage room to dry. She then thinks about what to write with and comes up in using soot, which made Effa happy. Mine ended up cleaning their hearth. Back at the forest, Lutz and Mine successfully made basic lead pencil by mixing soot and clay. When she arrives home, the planks are gone. Effa had used them for firewood. Filled with emotion of despair, Mine begins to glow again with her eye color changes, and she collapses with fever. While she stays in bed, Lutz tries to cheer her up, brings her bamboo strips, but Effa burns them as well. Mine starts to glow again and thinks of giving up entirely, but thought of Lutz, which calms her down and her fever suddenly vanishes, making her to wonder what sort of sickness her body has. Once she's well, Mine is able to go to the gates and settles a day for Lutz and Otto to meet. Episode 6. Meeting. Mine and Lutz are in the forest, this time to wash Lutz's hair for his meeting with Otto. Mine tells him first impressions are important. They talk about their goals. The following day, Otto was accompanied by another man. The man is introduced as Benno, a city merchant. Benno becomes immediately interested in both Lutz and Mine's hair, and Mine's hair stick. Mine keeps mum on the all-in-one shampoo. Otto gets to the point by telling Lutz to forget about being a traveling merchant, and suggest being a city merchant apprentice. Benno asked if he truly want to be an apprentice merchant. Lutz answered yes, he will make whatever Mine comes up with. Mine reveals her idea for making plant-based paper. Though Benno is skeptical, he agrees to sponsor both Mine and Lutz at the time limit, before their baptism. Mine, feeling pleased with the outcome, writes down what tools they would need on her slate. Asks Lutz to find a suitable tree to use its fibers. At the gate, Mine asked Otto why he became a soldier. Otto replies, telling her to marry Corinna. Otto offers to buy Mine the nails. Both agreed on bartering the use of some of Mine's all-in-one shampoo for some nails. Otto takes Mine in their home and meets his wife Corinna. After washing Corinna's hair and getting her hands on some nails, Mine meets with Lutz. At the gate, Otto gives Mine and Lutz invitations from Benno. Episode 7. Seeds of Suspicion. Lutz and Mine walked through the wealthier side of the city to the Gilberta company that Benno owns. Mine finds out Benno is Corinna's older brother. After their lunch with Benno, he scolds them for going to Otto instead of asking him. Benno offers to get everything they need for paper making, in exchange for rights to Mine's all-in-one shampoo. Mine wants the rights to make paper and Lutz the rights to sell paper. Both agrees to the terms and sign a magical contract. On their way home, Lutz asked if she really is Mine. Mine becomes anxious and has a bad dream. When Lutz was unable to accompany Mine to Benno's office, Mine decides to go on her own. While out with Benno's assistant Mark, Mine suddenly collapses. She awakens in Benno's home, who orders Mine to be accompanied by Lutz at all times. Later on, Benno tells Otto the possibility that Mine does have the devouring, and Mine might die soon. Gunther scolds Mine for pushing herself, and tells Lutz to always accompany Mine. Benno also says the same thing to Lutz. Mine and Lutz are given a workshop near the south gate. The episode ends with Benno telling Mine to behave, Mark reminding Mine to look after herself, and Lutz telling Mine he will do all the heavy lifting. Episode 8. Lutz is Mine. Mark shows Mine and Lutz to the workshop they will be using. He hands Lutz the keys. Mine is relieved that Lutz is acting normal towards her. Mine and Lutz tries to make a bamboo strainer, but fails. They were referred to a craftsman to make the strainer. Mine and Lutz went to the forest to start making paper. A weird plant sprouts and rapidly grows. Mine screams, "Let's see a trombe." Lutz calls for help. Lutz together with Ralph and Faye chop the trombe to pieces. Mine uses the trombe for their paper making. Lutz continues to be more and more suspicious of Mine, while Mine is getting anxious about it. At the drying stage of the paper making, Lutz confronts Mine. Mine tells everything to Lutz. Both get emotional, but later resolves their conflict, and Lutz reassured Mine her secret is safe with him. They bring their plant-based paper prototypes to Benno, who then allows them to be his apprentices. Episode 9. The Guild Master's Granddaughter. Mine and Lutz gets overwhelmed with the money in front of them. They get taught by Mark about the currency system. After receiving both their share for creating plant paper, Mine asks if her hair ornaments could sell. Benno takes Lutz and Mine to the Merchant Guild to get registered as his apprentice merchant. While they wait to be seen by the Merchant Guild Master, who Benno refers as the stingy old fart, Mine spots a bookshelf with scrolls and planks. Here she learns the layout of the city and the surrounding land. They meet with the Guild Master Gustav, who gives Benno a hard time, until Benno presents him with the hair ornament. Gustav allows both Mine and Lutz to be registered and issued guild cards, in exchange for a hair ornament to be made for his granddaughter's upcoming baptism, and arranged a meeting between his granddaughter, Lutz, and Mine. Mine and Lutz were shocked after learning how much money Benno charged Gustav for the hair ornament. Benno educates them to make as much more money when they can. On the meeting day, Mine and Lutz shows Frida a sample of the hair ornament. Mine offers to sell Frida 2 ornaments since she wears pigtails. Lutz suggested one at full price and the second at half price, when Mine and Frida could not agree on the pricing. Frida accepts, but believes they are missing out on profit, similar to what Benno told her earlier that Frida takes after Gustav. A few days later they deliver Frida her hair ornaments. Mine learns her fever is called the devouring, after Frida explains it to her and admits she suffers from it too. Mine also learns the devouring has no cure. Episode 10. To the second winter. It's pork stocking day, and while Mine's family leaves for the fall festival, Mine is left at home, bedridden with a fever. Mine starts to feel anxious, then suddenly feels the fever inside her swelling up. She then motivates herself and imagines locking the fever in a box. Her family returns home and Lutz visits her. During his visit they both go over the list Benno gave Mine. The list is about their apprentice training. A problem with the all-in-one shampoo production arises, and both Mine and Lutz learn the consequence of non-compliance with the magic contract. Mine figures out and resolves the issue when they visited the workshop. Mine sells Benno her ideas on the other uses of the extracted oils at a high price. The following day, Mine goes to the gate. Otto then gets called to deal with a trombe. Mine's devouring returns, but she forces it down. Lutz was able to gather a lot of the trombe branches for their paper making. One day at their workshop Mine suffers with the devouring, but Mine was able to suppress it. Lutz begs Benno to save Mine. Benno gives him some advice. After completing the hair ornaments for Benno to sell in his store, Lutz tells Mine he will make everything she comes up with. At the Gilberta company, Mine asked Benno if they could sell her weaving basket, and as they discuss other products to sell, Mine suddenly collapses. The episode ends as the devouring tries to consume Mine. Episode 11. Life or death choices, and family meetings. Mine fights for her life. She wakes up at Frida's place. Frida explains the broken bracelet is a magical item that only nobles own. It saved her life by absorbing her fever. Frida tells her the devouring will return within a year. Frida also tells Mine she has a choice, to make a contract with the nobles and live, but she has to leave her family behind, or to stay with her family and die. Mine thanks Gustav for saving her, and pays him for the use of the bracelet. Mine spends the rest of the day with Frida. Mine leaves with her family the next day, after she helps Frida get ready for her baptism. The next time Mine and Lutz goes to Benno's office, Benno scolds Mine for cooking with Frida using sugar. As Mine leaves, she notices how busy Benno's shop, and ponders to make indoor card games and board games to sell over the next year. Mine's baptism is approaching. On the night Mine shows Gunter the outfit she will wear, Mine, overwhelmed with guilt, decided to tell her family the truth about her illness, and her decision to stay with them with the time she has left. The episode ends with Tuli, Mine, and Effa sleeping while hugging each other, and Gunther crying by the hearth. Episode 12. Baptism and Divine Paradise. The episode opens at Lutz's place with Mine telling Lutz she will not be continuing her apprenticeship with Benno. Lutz and his mother Carla have an argument about his apprenticeship, with the latter giving her blessing. Come spring, Mine and Lutz learned a celebratory spring merchant greeting from Mark. Mine ends her apprenticeship with Benno and instead signs an exclusive contract with his company. Benno applied for a plant-based paper guild to avoid conflict with the current paper guild that uses parchment paper. The workshop that Mine and Lutz uses officially became the Mine Studio, and Benno spent a day with Mine and Lutz to learn the plant paper making process. Mine visits Frida, and tells the latter of her decision to stay with her family. Frida buys the cake recipe from Mine. It is Mine and Lut's baptism day and everyone admires how lovely Mine looks with her dress. Lutz and Mine joins the parade towards the temple. There, they register for their citizenship. Mine sees a book and listens attentively. Mine gets taken by an attendant to rest in one of the rooms, when she fell down, during the baptism ceremony. Mine accidentally came across the temple library, but was saddened when she was unable to enter. Mine then meets with the High Bishop, stating she wants to become an attendant. Mine offers a large gold coin as a donation. Though shocked by this, the bishop composes himself and tells Mine she would need her parents' approval, tells Mine she is welcome to come by the temple and to read anytime she wants. Too happy, Mine offers prayer to the gods and does the prayer pose, then collapses. Episode 13. The choice to be an apprentice priestess. Lutz scolds Mine as she rests in a temple bed. He finds out she collapsed from excitement after finding the temple's library, and while talking to the High Bishop. That evening Mine tells her family about her plan. Gunther angrily refuses to allow her, states to Mine that temple attendants are for orphans and that she will have to cut ties with her family to live at the temple. While in bed, Mine's devouring starts to build up inside her, due to her being torn on choosing between her love of her family and finally finding a library. This caused Mine to be bedridden again. When she is well enough, Mine goes to the temple, meets the high priest and read the scriptures together. Mine told the high bishop and high priest of her decision to not become a temple attendant. The high bishop and the high priest confirmed Mine has the devouring when the grail changes color after Mine touches it. Both then tells Mine they want to meet with Mine's parents. Mine and Lutz then went to meet Benno and explains everything to him. Benno tells her the temple wants her because of her mana. There is a current mana shortage, due to a political conflict which resulted to a decrease of nobles in the temple. Benno tells Mine that in order to protect her from being targeted by the nobles, she would need to sign a new magical contract with Lutz and himself. On their way home, Lutz tearfully expresses his sadness. Mine apologizes, but tells him she would not give up on making her own books even if she went to the temple. And reassures him whenever she comes up with anything or needs help, Lutz will always be her first choice. Lutz with a determined smile tells Mine he will make whatever Mine dreams of. Episode 14. Conclusion. At home, Mine tells her parents about the meeting and shows them the invitation from the High Bishop. She also tells Benno's advice to her and her family. Mine mentions the 3 demands they would offer to the High Bishop on the meeting. The family agrees, though Effa and Tuli were reluctant. The meeting day arrives and Mine with her parents arrive at the temple. They meet the High Bishop and the High Priest. The High Bishop's attitude changes when he learns Mine's family is poor. He demands they hand over Mine and orders to take Mine by force when both Gunther and Effa refused. Gunther fights with the attendants while Effa shields Mine. When the High Bishop threatens Gunther with death, Mine gets angry and begins to glow. Her eyes fixed at the High Bishop changes color. He stumbles and begins to choke, trying to call for help. The High Priest asked Mine to control herself. Mine continues to attack the High Bishop until he loses consciousness, but as she goes in for the final blow, the High Priest goes between Mine and the High Bishop. The High Priest coughs blood. He continues tries to calm Mine down. Mine calms down when she learns her family will be in danger if she kills the High Bishop. The High Priest apologizes and expresses his envy of Mine for having loving parents. High Priest explains that Mine's attack is called the Crushing. The High Priest requested Mine to join the temple, accepting all of Mine's family's conditions, making her a blue-robed apprentice priestess. Mine and her parents returns home, to the waiting Lutz and Tuli, and the sisters tearfully hug each other, relieved. End of Season 1. You can watch all the previous episodes from the link at the description. Do look forward for my recap of Season 2, Ascendance of a Bookworm. Please check out my other videos, and don't forget to click like and subscribe to my channel. I would also like to hear from you, so drop me a message on our community and comments section. Till next time. Bye bye. Disclaimer. I do not own or claim any ownership rights over any of the graphics, images, songs used in this video. All rights reserved to the respective copyright owners.